you who know the DeYoung family at all, you can probably imagine the challenge it was to gather the DeYoung team out the door in time for the bus on school mornings. Between yelling time updates through the house and doing his hair, Alex managed to corral his sisters out the front door, and most days we left with everything we needed. Some may think that once the youngsters were out of Mom and Dad's sight, that all rules were broken and chaos broke loose. This was not the case when the warden Alex was with us. There were rules. Rules when waiting at the end of the bus. We had to line up behind the culvert bump, youngest to oldest. And no one would pass the culvert bump until the bus came to a complete stop. Some rules were put in place for Alex, such as no whistling at the bus stop and no seagull impersonations. This was simply to keep our sanity. One particular morning, Alex had gathered all of us, made sure we had our backpacks and our lunches, and wrangled us out the front door. Being the youngest of the crew, I usually needed to be rescued or a Band-Aid for my knee. But this particular morning, I needed a protector. Somehow, I managed to make it past Mom, past Dad, out the door, and halfway down the driveway with my blue blankie. Alex clearly stated we did not have time to go back to the house as the bus was at the neighbors. He looked at me, took my blankie, put it in the bottom of his backpack, and assured me he would bring it home for me at the end of the day. Sure enough, when I got home, grade 7 Alex had told me that he snuck my blankie in his locker for safekeeping for the day. That day, Alex was my protector, and he has been else.
The second characteristic that we know will make Alex a great husband is that he's a fearless leader. Alex was always taking us girls on adventures all over the farm. Whether it was building forts in the haymow or helping all three of us squirm into our tree fort, Alex was always leading the way. One of our most favorite adventures as kids was going out to Big Red. What seemed like an epic journey as a kid was in reality just a short trip through the cow pasture behind the house to a big red rock. Although the adventures we had, stories we made up, and games we played while out at Big Red were always different, one thing was constant: there were never cows in pasture. One day, however, the pull to visit Big Red was too strong. We decided we had to go, cows or not. The journey started out as normal. We were filled with anticipation and excited for a new adventure. Things took a turn for the worse, however, when me and Jocelyn realized that we were actually terrified of the cows. After all, Holsteins are only the world's most aggressive animal. Legitimate or not, this fear led to an early end to the adventure. We quickly picked up our pace, and suddenly we were racing back to the house. Or rather, Kristen and Alex were racing. Jocelyn and I, however, were running for our lives. We were almost home when all of a sudden I stopped dead in my tracks and let out what I can only imagine was a blood-curdling shriek. Any farm kid recognizes that squelchy sound when your boot lands in the wrong place in the cow field. I had lifted up my foot in mid-stride, but my rubber boot stayed behind. I had stepped in a huge cow patty. I was now standing in the middle of the pasture, surrounded by bloodthirsty Holsteins, trying to balance on one foot. Alex then leaped into action. Ever the leader, he took control of the situation. He hoisted me onto his back. We all raced back to the house with Alex piggybacking me the whole way. Although I don't anticipate Jessica losing her flip-flops in any cow patties in the near future, I know that Alex will always be a fearless leader for you, Jess. The last characteristic that will now make Alex a great partner is his strong sense of fairness and justice. You can imagine as an older brother, this is an exceptionally important characteristic. Growing up, Alex was often hoping he could convince one of us to play sports with him. Credit should be given because Alex would always give himself a handicap to keep things fair. The unfortunate part was normally Alex's plans left us with the handicap. One example was playing basketball with Jocelyn. As an advantage, Jocelyn was allowed to score from throwing the ball up through the basket. Granted, Jocelyn got her first ever basket. However, as you can imagine, this backfired upon descent. A desperate Alex was left calming Jocelyn after a basketball game ended prematurely with a ball to the face. A second example was playing baseball in the yard. Alex gave me an advantage by allowing me to pitch from 8 feet away. My pitches had never been more accurate, but it was the line drive hitting me right in the face, making contact with my eye socket, that much to Alex's dismay ended the game early. Despite the unfortunate outcomes, Alex would always play fair. However, Jess, I would warn you in the future to stay away from any modified sports. Hopefully these few insights allow everyone to see a different side of Alex, and Jess make you even more excited for the journey you're about to start. Alex, we couldn't have asked for a better big brother, and we're so happy that you found Jess. Jess, thank you for loving our brother, for challenging him, and for being the smart, adventurous woman that you are. Although you've been a part of our family for years, we want to officially welcome you to the DeYoung Sisterhood. Since joining the family, you brought our average height to only 4 inches above normal.
Everyone please raise your glass. Here's to Jess and Alex.